So for today's video, I thought I would sit down and film an in-depth review of one of my most used handbags, if not the most used handbag in particular since COVID started last year, which, as a side note, happy 1 year anniversary of 2 weeks to slow the spread. It's certainly been a long 2 weeks. So I thought today we'd maybe take a tangent off of that topic and just talk about something a little bit more lighthearted, especially given all of the questions that I've gotten from you guys. And I feel like in 2020 we really saw the uptake of the Saint Laurent Lulu bag, not in a trend or viral kind of way, as you have seen with, for example, Bottega bags. There is still a lot of demand for this bag. It's evidence in the fact that Saint Laurent themselves have increased the prices ever so slightly. In fact, I think they've done it almost without many people noticing, but I've certainly seen it on places like Louisa Via Roma, Farfetch. They have increased their prices by a couple of hundred here and there, and I think that's only going to continue into the future as people look towards more accessible brands like Saint Laurent that are a bit more mid-tier, also from a reputable fashion house that produces quality bags that have that very classic, almost Chanel classic flap kind of vibe, but without the price tag. I think the Lulu bag is going to be a really strong fixture in Saint Laurent's collections. I think they're going to keep making it. I think the prices are only going to increase. So that's why I wanted to sit down and do almost like a 1 year review type of video. So in my usual formats, I do a little bit of an intro about the bag, a little bit around specs, also, you know, talking about why I got the bag, things that you can then fit into it. So, you know, even talking about things like the actual weight. I have my trusty kitchen scales, you know, weighing it when it's got the stuff in as well, just to see how much it can actually fit. I will also then be talking about pros, cons, and then finally we will get on to wear and tear, and then just, you know, final thoughts. There's going to be a lot of information which hopefully you will find useful, and if you don't, well, hopefully there's just a little bit of something to take your mind off your day. So in terms of some basic facts about the Lulu bag, it's actually a very, very new release, as you probably have realized, given that it suddenly burst onto the scene, not in a dramatic way like I mentioned earlier, but you know, we saw it pretty much everywhere last year. And in fact, it was only released in 2019. So obviously before then you will have had, like I mentioned before, you know, very popular bags like the college bag. It's definitely a lot more square and boxy in its shape, and it also has the chevron design. And actually what gives the Lulu bag its distinctive name is actually because it was named after one of their fashion muses called Lulu de la Falaise. I think she's probably comparable to, like, I guess in the UK it would be like the Kate Mosses of the fashion world, which I think is quite nice given that, you know, other fashion houses like Chanel, you know, we've got the Gabrielle, we've got the Coco handle, for example. That is a little bit about the Lulu bag. Obviously very distinctive, like I mentioned, in terms of its boxy shape. It's also very distinctive, I feel, in terms of its double strapped shoulder strap. We've got leather details on here. And what I think also is really good about this bag is the amount of compartments inside. So I will take you for a full tour in just a second. But in terms of the basic stats about the Lulu bag itself, so the Lulu actually comes in, I believe, 4 sizes. So we've got the toy size. I want to say very comparable to the Chanel mini dimensions. And the toy size, it actually doesn't have the ability to go double strapped on the shoulder like this one, which is the size small that I have here. The toy is just basically a crossbody bag, but it has a crossbody shoulder strap that can be detached, so it can be worn as a clutch. And I do think out of all the sizes, I feel like the toy might be the most popular size, I feel, also because of the price point. I think for the Lulu bag line, one of the biggest selling points is its price point, and at the time that I bought it anyway, you know, we were talking less than, at least for the toy size, we're talking less than £1,000 for the toy Lulu, and for the small Lulu, that's, you know, back in the day it was 1,300. So these are all very, very accessible price points in comparison, like I mentioned, to the other fashion houses that are a bit more high tier for a very similar style of bag like Chanel. And also it's a very cute looking bag. It fits a lot though for its small size, and I do think it's, you know, for people who are on the go, crossbody, hands-free, that is a very good option for a lot of people, so that's why I see that one a lot. But then next up, you've obviously got the small size, which is what I have here, and I do think that is very neck and neck in terms of popularity. And I do think the main appeal of this is obviously once you graduate in size, and this is probably comparable to a Chanel medium flat bag, that you've got the ability to have your bag over the shoulder, also crossbody. Though it isn't detachable, that is not the, I guess, the purpose of this particular bag. It is very much like a everyday kind of casual looking bag, and I think it really succeeds in that way, and in the way that the bag has been designed, from the outside functionality to also inside. And then in terms of the other sizes, on the other side of the spectrum, in the bigger realms, we've got the medium, which is very, very similar, I feel, to the college bag type of vibe. I think it's probably comparable to a jumbo-sized Chanel bag, maybe even slightly bigger than that. And that one, you know, you can probably fit, I think, like an iPad, notebooks, probably like an A5 notebook at that. And a lot of people use that one, that I've seen anyway, for traveling. At the time last year, that was around 1,600, I believe. So again, a really good price point. And then the final size that you have is the large, which I personally think is probably comparable to the Chanel XXL. You know, those massive bags that people also bring as like an airport bag. Some crazy people use it as a gym bag. I'm not bougie enough for that, but if you are, good on you, sis. But that is a massive bag. So that one, I believe, can fit your laptop in it, as well as all your other traveling essentials. So very similar to, I guess, Keepall, Louis Vuitton Keepall vibes. So before I take you for a little bit of a tour of the Lulu bag that I have, I thought it might be useful to tell you a little bit about the specs that we've got going on, the type of bag that I actually have. So obviously it is the size small, like I've mentioned. I've also got it in the off-white colorway, which hopefully you will be able to capture on camera. I've always loved the clean nature of a white bag, how versatile it is for all seasons. And it's a bag that I've obviously never had in my collections, purely because when you have a white bag, they're usually quite hard to maintain, because any marks, any stains are really easy to see on a white bag. And so when I was, you know, cultivating my bag collection, I've grown it to a size where I was like, you know what? I think I've taken care of my bags enough, I know enough about bags, sort of, to be able to then consider adding a white coloured bag. So when I was doing my research, I was looking at bags from, for example, Chanel. I was even looking to add the Coco handle in a white iridescent, which in a way I'm glad I didn't, because for a bag of that particular price to get in white, which I've never had experience of before, I think probably would have been a little bit, it would have been a bit risky, to be honest. And when I then did my research, I saw the Lulu bag come up time and time again as a really good bag option, because I also wanted a bag to be to have the ability to go on the shoulder and also crossbody, you know, just for more options to go hands-free. I thought that this would be a really good alternative and a way for me to trial out lighter colours, but also, you know, have it be on hard wearing leather, and you know, something that is not a true white, I think is also really good in terms of longevity as well, so you wouldn't be able to pick up any marks, etc. I also love the fact that it's chevron. I have a lot of quilted classic bags, not just from Chanel, but also my other bags. They're very, very plain, and so this is, I guess, the second chevron bag that I have in my collection, the first being the Chanel Coco handle chevron, but these chevrons are a lot bigger, puffier as well. I just love the squidginess of this bag. That really drew me to the Lulu. It's a beautiful everyday bag that's really fuss free as well, made from really, really durable leather. And just on that point on durability, this bag is made of full Napa leather on the outside. Inside we've got fabric going on, but I'll show you that in just a second. So for the specifics in terms of pricing, the original price was $1,365, I believe. Yes, I just checked my notebook there. But I managed to get it for 10% off, which is the special thing, the even more special thing about buying Saint Laurent bags. They are all usually eligible for discounts on Louise Vuitton, Farfetch, all those big name sites that you can think of. So I managed to get mine for 1,200 and, let me just check, £33.50. So let me just take you around the tour of the bag. So obviously, like I mentioned, we got chevron, off-white, silver hardware, kind of ruthenium in its nature, especially when you compare it with the the look of the bag is very, very rustic. So I think it almost looks a bit like a little bit edgy, you know, so it's quite nice. I do like my bags to be quite modern looking, but with a classic silhouette. So obviously very, very boxy, but also got a lot of squidge going on, which you should be able to see here. It's not got anything inside at the moment. I'm going to be stuffing it with things in a bit just to show you how much it can fit. But anyway, let me just turn her around just quickly. And I really do love the look of, you know, how the chevrons kind of just meet here. And this is just the side. Then we go into the actual open and close mechanism, which is just a metallic popper there. It's a very strong closure too, so it's not like it will just come undone. You can see the tension here when I'm pulling it, so that's really, really good. Then once we get inside, this is what the bag looks like. We've got 3 main compartments here to sort all of your belongings. And as you can probably tell, this is not a leather lining. This is a microfiber fabric lining, which I don't mind too much because it keeps the bag relatively light, given the rest of the bag is completely leather. And then you've got a metal chain as well. So here we've got a really big front compartment. This is the biggest of the compartments. I'm not even stretching the bag. You can just see, and you can just tell hopefully like that. That is the bigger of the lot. I put a lot of junk in there. And then we've got a smaller middle compartment with a zip on it as well. So cards, valuables and things like that go in there. Then we've got another big compartment at the back. And then after that, we've got a leather pocket with, you know, just space for cards and things like that. When I'd opened the bag just for the first time, the authenticity card was also in there, but I've since stored that away. But, you know, similar sized items would go in there. And inside you've got a Saint Laurent Paris tag inside. Not that it's that important. And you've also got Saint Laurent Paris stamped on the exterior of the actual leather itself. So that is all the inside details. And, you know, you've got the Saint Laurent logo stamped on the zips as well, which I think is a really nice touch. And if I just bring you back outside, we've got obviously the metal chain handle, which can go single strap over the shoulder, crossbody, and also double strapped, which is a really, really good option for bags. I don't have a lot of bags in my collection that can do that. They're usually crossbody. And obviously with the double straps that you have for the bag, you have these leather details as well, so it's very, very comfortable to be worn over the shoulder, as well as also crossbody, which I think is a very nice touch because you also don't want straps digging into your shoulders. Now we're going to go on to measurements and weight, which some of you may find helpful in terms of picking the right size for you. So for the particular small bag that I have, I've written down the measurements, which I will just regurgitate with you, and I will just put them on screen as well. So I'm going to be doing centimeters first. For the width of the bag, we have 24 centimeters. For the height of the bag, we have 19 centimeters. Depth, we have 8 centimeters. And handle, we have 30 centimeters, and the whole strap is 62 centimeters. So what that then translates to in terms of inches, depending on where you're from. So then if we start again, so width is 9.4 inches, height is 7.5 inches, depth is 3.1 inches, handle is 11.8 inches, and strap is 24.4 inches. So hopefully that will help you out. And I know a lot of you do, as a side note, find it more useful sometimes when I wear the bag. So I will of course include mod shots and things like that into this video as I'm talking, so that you can see reference onto me. I'm about 5'7" as well for reference. Dress size, if that's interesting to you, usually a UK 6, so maybe that will be helpful to you. I usually find myself wearing this particular bag quite comfortably, crossbody. It doesn't hit too low either, and I also wear it a lot double strapped because that's really why I wanted this particular bag, because I don't really do that with a lot of my other bags. They have no capability to go on the shoulder. So that's just the basic stats here in terms of measurements. And then what I'm going to do now, just to finish off the more, you know, mathematical side of this video, is I am going to grab my trusty kitchen scales and I'm going to weigh the bag empty. Then we are going to segue into the part of the video that I think it's probably the most interesting because you get to see what I put in this bag and the real nice stuff that I put in this bag as well. So I'm just going to wait now over here on my table, which thankfully you cannot see because there is quite a mess. So I'm actually just going to fold the chain into the bag so that it really captures the true weight. Alright, so the bag has been weighed, and drum roll please for the actual final weight of the bag. It is a very, very light and conservative 667 grams, which compared to my other bags, from memory I think my Givenchy Antigona was a kilogram, so it's not a particularly heavy bag. So let's just see what we can get into this bad boy, shall we? So I've got a bunch of stuff over here, which again, like I mentioned, I'm so glad that you cannot see because it's just piled up into a little mountain of rubbish. I'm going to put a phone in and I'm recording audio with my usual phone, my iPhone Pro Max. I mean, it's usually in my hand or in my pocket, let's be honest, but I know a lot of you guys will put your phone in the bag. It's a useful option to have, you know, for security purposes as well. So I just chuck it in here. This is my trusty Kingsman wallet. Which I've had for a long time, and it's literally bulging. It's so bad that if I took all the cards out, it would still be bulged. The wallet goes into the back compartment. That's easy access really for those things. Next up, we've got another essential, and that is my keys and car keys hanging out. I always carry a little baggie now with my mask and some gloves because let's be hygienic, let's not virtue signal, okay? As you can see, I'm using a lot of the big compartment because when you open the bag, when your hand's free, you kind of just want everything there accessible. So next up, I've got a makeup compact. This is just a basic one from Sephora, so I'll put it in the back. Other stuff that I'll put in there, my hand wash, my hand gel sanitizer. Can't go out the house without one nowadays, can you? So I put that in the back as well because that's quite flat. Let's just keep going with the hygiene theme. We've got a pack of tissues. These are looking a bit worse for wear, to be honest. I've mangled the tissue. Let's take a little bit of a turn. We've got Farb gel spray, which I've talked about before. Again, won't go into detail here, but that will be in there. And you know what? Maybe I'll want easy access for that, so that will go in the main compartment. Obviously, making sure also that I put it upright because I don't want to accidentally spray my bag. That would be rubbish, wouldn't it? Let's go medicinal, shall we? I've got some paracetamol. You just never know when you'll need it. And, you know, maybe I'll put that in the zipped compartment because that's not something everyone needs to see, is it? Along the same lines, I'll go with a bit of skincare. I've got a bit of snail gel, which is clearly a freebie I've got from somewhere else. But, you know, I don't want to put massive hand cream sometimes. I will always usually carry a pack of mints, so that can go in there. That will also go in the zip compartment just in case that stuff falls out. It's all localized. Other things, bring some food, some snacks. I've got some high chews. Hair tie. That is a very small item. That I'll put in my card holder bit there. So easy access. Other stuff. Got a cable. That cable is going in the bag just at the top here. Other stuff, got liquid lipstick. I've got this very slimline credit card size battery pack. A lot of you guys loved this from when I've done previous videos. I got this actually as a gift when we were in San Francisco from a friend. So I'm sorry, I don't know, you know, links and things like that, but I've just had a quick look on Amazon. They are very inexpensive. They're everywhere, so you can get one there. And that one is so small. You know what? I'll probably put that in the middle. Other stuff, look, let's not be taboo about this kind of stuff. Tampons, need I say more? I mean, I'd usually put them at the bottom so not everyone could see them, but you know what, for this video, whatever. Other things I can put in, I've got some smaller items, so I've got some plasters and also some isopropyl wipes just to clean some things. I will usually put those either in the zip compartment or the back, but let's put it in the zip for now. I will also usually bring around one of these bad boys. What I'm going to open is a carrier bag. Low-key flex. Still a bit of space at the top. I could put some more things. So for example, you know, I could put a pen. I've got a pen here, making sure that obviously it's not one that can leak or anything. I've got a pad of sticky notes. I mean, some of you might like to bring little notebooks and things. So that would obviously, you could probably try and fit one of those A6 notebooks, but this will just substitute, and you know, you could fit that in there quite comfortably. But I'm going to stop it there because otherwise you'd have to go digging around for stuff. and you know, it is becoming harder to fasten. So that is the bag, completely full to the brim. I'm going to weigh it with my trusty kitchen scales, which hopefully you will also find very, very helpful. So I've reset the scales. I'm going to pop her on them. So I've just weighed this bag, and it is pretty accurate in terms of what I thought it was going to be. So if any of you guys were guessing out there, like The Price is Right or something, this bag came in with filled to the brim with everything inside of it at a whopping 1.613 kilograms. It almost triple its body weight. I think you could probably go for the full triple if you added something else in there. It's very deceiving, don't you think, from the sizing of it and from all the compartments. You can get so much in there. It is a little bit heavy holding it like this. I'm not going to lie to you, but when would you be holding it like this? I'm now going to pop her just in the background so that we can talk a little bit more about pros and cons. Let's do pros first. The best thing I think about this bag is its versatility, and you know, you could say versatility in terms of the ways to wear it. So like I mentioned, crossbody, over the shoulder, you could do it handheld, crook of the arm. It makes you want to pick this bag up to use as a casual everyday bag, because being hands-free is something that I think not every single bag does completely well. And then to extend on from that versatility point, I also think the colorway and the sizing that I've picked for this particular bag has been spot on. I always end up reaching for this for not just my spring summer outfits, but also autumn winter as well, but also transitioning from day to night. I think this is a really good bag color, an option to have. Then onto the next pro for the Lulu bag, and it's usually the first pro that I mention in a lot of my videos because I am quite savvy in this respect on this particular point, and that is price. The pricing of this bag is amazing. Even now, even with all the price increases that I've mentioned have been happening over the past year, I still think that this is a great bag choice and probably stands to increase its price even more given how much bag and the quality that you get for your money. Like I've mentioned, it is a bag that is still under £2,000 regardless, I think, of the size, but in the small size, I believe nowadays it is about £1,500 thereabouts, and I think that is an amazing price point for a bag that is very, very classic looking. A lot of people are gravitating towards not just the Lulu, but just YSL bags in general, because they're very, very practical, affordable, stylish. They're consistently up there in terms of what influencers promote and celebrities. Not that that should be something that should motivate you, but I think when you consider brands like Louis Vuitton and Dior, when they get influencers to promote something and then they fizzle out, just in the way that they came in with a bang, they also leave with a bang. I feel like with the Lulu bag in particular, as well as all of the other YSL bags, they always steadily increase in popularity and they always kind of remain. And I think the fact that we're seeing the Lulu bag increase in price and also in different colorways and hardwares as well is a testament to the fact that people keep buying this bag. Now, I haven't really looked at the resale market. I don't necessarily think that this particular bag is one of those bags that you would buy to then resell unless it was in a very, very special colorway, but I don't think it's like Chanel where they produce like iridescence and special things like that. They're all more basic and muted kind of colors. But I think if you're looking for an everyday casual bag that you're going to be using and loving, I think the price point is really, really good. And the final pro that I wanted to cover, which is something that I've alluded to throughout, I guess, as well, is the very classic silhouette, shape, and also, I guess, the classic nature of YSL as a brand itself. I think that is a big draw for a lot of people who are just starting out their luxury handbag collections or their luxury fashion journey in general. I think this is a great entry-level handbag to go in with to start out your collection, or even if you want to diversify your current handbag collection and you're not really taken with the whole Chanel price increases as well for their bags, I think the YSL is a really good option for you out there. They have tons of colorways, obviously lots of sizes, different hardware colors as well, and so there's something for everybody there. And then if you consider all the other factors that I've talked about already in this video, so obviously the price point, you've got the versatility in terms of the ways to wear it, the color selection, you've also got the functionality of the bag, you know, the things that you can fit inside of it as well, the compartmentalization, all those kind of things. And then you have wrapped around with a nice neat little bow the fact that it's coming from YSL, a very, very reputable, long-standing fashion house that produces a lot of quality bags that haven't just fizzled out of the public eye in the same way that they came in with a bang, that they've left in that same respect as well. I think it's a really, really good option for someone who is looking for a classic bag and is not really wanting to pay the extortionate price tags of the likes of Chanel at the moment. And on that thought, another pro that I wanted to mention is the quality and durability of the bag, which I think is second to none. But I wanted a bag that would, you know, withstand the elements to an extent, would go with a lot of outfits, and also be rugged and hard wearing for me to go in and out of it all the time, and, you know, something that wasn't going to show up in terms of scratches. And I'm very pleased to say that I've been very impressed with the quality and the durability of the bag. I also really enjoy the rustic nature of the bag. You can see it's naturally a little bit wrinkled here as well, which I know is something that not everybody likes, but I personally like it a lot because it hides any semblance of a scuff if I were to find it. So now that we have gotten the pros out of the way, let's move on to cons. The first con that I will just mention outright is, I mentioned earlier a little bit around the leather and how it kind of looks a little bit rustic, or, you know, with a little bit of wrinkling, and I know instantly off the bat that is something that a lot of you guys in the past have pointed out to me, and some of you guys don't mind it or haven't noticed it, some of you guys have, and so I wanted to mention it here because, as you can see, there is a little bit of crinkling of the leather. I think that's just the way that the Napa leather is, because it is throughout. A lot of you guys noticed this particular wrinkle on the side of my bag when I did my unboxing video. I didn't even notice it until it was actually mentioned in the comments to me, but it's not something that I'm bothered by. I don't think it's on every single bag though, so it might just be a design flaw, depends how you look at it. And I think it is part of the overall design, because I have seen it happening, you know, a little bit over here, but I know that's something that might worry you guys. Obviously, check the bag that you're going to be buying. If you can go in store, obviously you can do a little bit of a quality check there. I got mine online, but I don't think it's a massive deterrent anyway to get this bag. And your bag is going to be used and loved anyway, so I kind of find it builds a little bit of character. Then the next con that is worth mentioning is in terms of the fastening. So obviously I've talked about the fact that this is a strong magnetic closure, but it's got a bit of a lip at the top, which hopefully you can see here. And when you put the lip onto the magnetic fastening that it joins to, it is sometimes quite tricky to get it down with one hand. I usually find myself using another hand to support, or sometimes, because I do have a little bit of muscle memory now, I can just get it to match immediately. And having said that, I can't do it now on camera. There we go. It does take a little bit of a jig to get it. But when it's on your shoulder, like, I found that I've kind of mastered the art of doing it. In terms of the actual bag and ways to wear it, although I've said that it's quite versatile, and I think it can be a good bag that is you can wear from day to night, I do think the occasions that you wear this bag to are very much more on the casual side as opposed to more formal occasions. I think it is more of a day bag. You know, in the other bigger sizes, this would even be like a work bag, right? And I think that is very much the purpose of this bag in terms of where it really shines the best. And I think for evening occasions, it's not really one that I would reach for. I've got other bags for that. But if you are looking for, you know, your first designer handbag to be something that also works for evening, maybe pick the toy size. That might be a little bit better, because you can also have that as a clutch, which I think works really, really nice. In fact, if from memory I remember correctly, you could even wear it as like a wristlet or something. I think it may come with a wristlet from memory, or you can probably attach one on, given the D-rings are, you know, you can detach the chain strap from it, so you can always make it into a wristlet. But I think, at least for the size that I have, it is very much a day bag. Another con that I think some of you guys may want to consider is something that's not necessarily relevant to the small size of the Lulu, but as you graduate into the bigger sizes, I feel like becomes very, very apparent. So I'm talking here about the medium and large sizes, of course, and that is around sagging. Now, I kind of talked about it jokingly earlier when I was putting this particular bag on the trusty kitchen scales, that the bag just kind of wants to sag. I don't know if you'll see it. The bag just kind of wants to mold itself around the scales, and that's what it tends to do when it goes on a surface, a relatively flat surface, or even if it's a bit uneven, it will just want to distribute the weight of the bag around that object. But I have seen when people have reviewed the medium and large Lulu bags that because of this massive surface area, because it's just leather and it's not reinforced on the inside with leather, it's obviously like a microfiber fabric lining, that it starts to basically not only just sag, but it wrinkles, it doesn't hold its shape. You'd have to, even if you stuff the bag, it doesn't seem to work, just purely because of the size, and because of also the double D-ringed chains that go through, the bag seems to get some sort of pitting in the middle here on the bigger sizes of the bag, which just doesn't happen on the smaller ones. So this is, again, not an issue that you would face necessarily with the toy or the small Lulu that I have here, but it is something that is worth mentioning if you are considering something a bit more work or travel friendly, that sometimes people do get a little bit of that wrinkle in the middle and it doesn't look the nicest in my opinion. Although I do like a little bit of wrinkling to build character, to get a crease that big go through your whole bag is almost like someone sawed it in half, and it doesn't look the nicest. But also, if you were wanting to shift it down the line, it's something that not a lot of people would, I guess, want. The last thing that I want to do before sharing, you know, just final thoughts is wear and tear. And I have talked about it a lot already, but let me just show you some close-ups of the bag. So obviously you can see from the almost a year that I've been using it very, very consistently throughout the time that I've had it, I think it personally looks almost brand new. Obviously you can see a little bit of the wrinkling that I mentioned a little bit earlier, a little bit more pronounced, I guess. There you go, there you can see it. And let me just move it around so that you guys can see it in the different lights. But overall, I think it's done pretty well. It looks very, very new. Despite the fact that it's really stuffed to the brim, I haven't taken the stuff out. So 1.6 kilograms of belongings are still in this bag, and it's still doing really, really well. And obviously you can see the corners, they're a little bit pitted in at the side from where the bag sits, because it's a little bit saggy. But, you know, nothing drastic or major. Then, you know, in terms of the straps as well, they haven't left imprints on the bag or anything like that, which I'm very pleased to say. And in terms of the interior as well, of the leather, because I think the leather is the thing that usually shows the most wear, there are a few, I guess, minor scuffs. Oh gosh, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Just a few kind of dots on the inside of the leather. Probably a couple of scratches here and there. Something that I've just picked off, which I'm not quite sure what that is. But it's a very white, clean, fuss-free kind of bag. I always like try and buff it out with a cloth after I use it or wear it on light coloured jeans, but I've never had colour transfer, as you can see. Based on the fact that after a year of consistent use and it's been out in all of the elements, wind, rain, sunshine, everything, that it's done really well. So I'm very, very pleased with it. Alright, so we are finally at the end of this review video. If you stuck with me this long, thank you very much. Hopefully you found this useful and it's helped you with your decision making. If you've got other questions or other requests, let me know down below of what you might find useful. And if you have this bag as well and you've experienced very different things or you have other stuff to add, just leave them below as well. I would love to read them. So anyways, I'm going to tidy up everything and get some much needed sips of water. But thanks for watching and I'll catch you in my next one.